Welcome back to Peak Performance. Today I wanted to give you guys an update. This week has been pretty awesome for me. Back a few days ago on Father's Day, I actually was able to score a deal on not one, but two classic cars. So I've actually been looking for the last several weeks, but of course the way things are right now with COVID and all these crazy prices on used vehicles, it has been tough to snag a good deal. So I was looking on Sunday and I ended up finding first a 1966 Plymouth Valiant that ended up being a pretty sweet deal. Had it locked down, said, hey, I'll come pick it up on Monday. And then a few hours later, I'm still looking through Facebook because that's what I do, through Marketplace. And I ended up finding this 1965 Ford Mustang. And I talked to the owner, he was about an hour and a half away. We ended up striking a deal and I was able to pick that car up yesterday. So literally within 48 hours, I was able to pick up this Plymouth Valiant. This car was located up in Flint, Michigan, just about an hour or so away. And then this one was over in Lansing, which took about an hour and 15 minutes or so. So both cars had to go about 60 miles. Both of them made it back to my house, no problem. Thankfully, no issues. And let me go ahead and kind of show you guys the cars. I'm still not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing with them both. Kind of the reason I wanted to get a classic car was, for one, just to have something to be able to drive, daily drive, when it's nice outside and take it to car shows. Of course, we've got the deathkart, but that's still having some tuning issues and some problems, so I kind of wanted to get something in the meantime that was a little bit more reliable that I could continue to use and take out. Now, one of the other main reasons that I forgot to mention was the Hotrod Power Tour is going to be happening again this year in August, and I think it starts in like Norwalk, which is only a couple hours from where I'm located here in Michigan. So I wanted to be able to do that and do that this year with my dad. So we've been talking about it for years, and he just hasn't had any of his cars ready, or I haven't had like the deathkart ready or my cars. So that was also another reason why I wanted to pick something up. And so I figure if I got two cars, between one of these, one of them is going to be going to the Power Tour, along with like the Woodward Dream Cruise and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So let me kind of take you through and show you guys each car and kind of what's going on with them right now. They both need a little bit of work, although they do both run and drive. Like I said, I brought them back 60 miles. So let me show you. Would you just have a look at this sweet Plymouth Valiant? So of course this is a four-door car, so it's not your typical muscle car. You know, it's not something that a lot of you guys might be lusting after, but this was something that was very, very affordable. And the reason why I kind of gravitated toward this car is it's mostly, well, very original. Of course, it's had some paint work, it's had the interior reupholstered, but this car came with a huge stack of paperwork that I'll show you guys, dating back to the early 1980s. So I have almost 40 years of all the documentation from at least 3 previous owners. It's been through a few different states, and the people, these owners that have owned this car, I mean, you can tell they really, really loved this thing. It starts up fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of take you guys through it a little bit, but honestly, so far this thing has been more fun than the Mustang just because it starts and just runs so well. It does need a little bit of work. It just has old tires, so the tires have some dry rot even though they have great tread. So I'll throw some new tires on it, but again, these are 14-inch tiny little tires. It's not going to be very expensive, and it also needs a little bit of brake work. It does have four-wheel. I'm sorry, this one has rear drum and they've already converted it to front disc, but it does need some rear drum brake work. I guess some kind of bracket had broken, and so right now they just have kind of a vice grip pinching off one of the rear brake lines. So I've got to have a look at that, get that fixed. Otherwise the car, you know, runs great, stops great, all that good stuff. It is a manual steering car, manual brake car, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, especially if you're a younger guy and you haven't had an older car from the 1960s. It'll blow your mind. It's very cool. It is a lot different, so that's all I'll say about it. But I'd say give it a shot. For me, I really like car history and just kind of seeing what it was like to drive these old cars. You know, I mean, 60, 50 years ago. It's just wild to see kind of how far we've come, right? Where we have the new vehicle like our 2021 Jeep Wrangler, you know, hybrid, right? Plug-in hybrid. It's just so cool to see kind of where things have come from. And so I think about the 1960s has so far been my oldest. So I really want to get some cars, you know, in the 1950s, 1940s. I mean, gosh, if I ever find a deal on like a 1920s Ford, I would love to just have one of those, just to have it, drive it, just to see what it's like. It's just so cool to me. But anyway, let me take you guys and show you guys inside of this thing. Check it out. So like I was telling you, the seats have been recovered. Looks like door panels are still original, so that you can see they've kind of you know, they've got some wear, obviously, right? Being whatever, 40, 50 years old. But still in really good original shape, I would say. Everything works inside this car. So the heat, all the gauges, even this old AM radio still works. So it's pretty mind-blowing. You know, this top dash is in great shape. And I mean, windows work, glass is good, even the dome light works. So it's pretty awesome. Now this car just has a 318 that's been bored out to a 327 cubic inch. Has a cam. I think it has some valve work and stuff done. From all the receipts I saw, I'm trying to show you guys a cold start real quick. But yeah, this thing starts pretty good. It's got an Edelbrock Performer intake and an Edelbrock carburetor. And let's see, I think this is the right key here. Negative. That's the worst part about these old cars. They got like 16 keys. All right, so let's just try to, look at that. Didn't even pump it. Let's give it one hit. One pump, fires right up, always runs great, never stalls out once it starts. I mean, this thing is just a gem. I love this big old steering wheel too. It's just freaking awesome. Let me get you to the back so you guys can hear this thing. So it's got just a little small camshaft in it, but just enough to sound really good. It's got dual exhaust with an H-pipe and just some like Flowmaster or equivalent, you know, probably 2-chamber mufflers. But the thing sounds pretty awesome, sounds pretty rowdy. Tiny little 14-inch wheels with little 205s out back, 195s up front. So not much for tires. But what a great little car for, you know, $5,000 bucks. You can't go wrong. Go ahead and pop this open real quick. Now again, if you guys aren't familiar with old school cars, there is no hood release on the inside like there is on newer stuff. You've literally got this latch right here. You pull that thing back and this thing pops up. So it's pretty crazy. You know, back then in the 60s, I mean, anyone could literally just come up to your car, open your hood and steal your battery or anything. It's pretty wild. So again, super clean. I mean, look at this, minimal rust, just some surface rust. A lot of this stuff's been all replaced. This motor's been rebuilt probably, I think it was back in 07, so 13, 14 years ago. But since the car only has what looks like about 65,000 original miles, I'm guessing there's probably only a handful of thousands of miles on this motor. It runs great, doesn't overheat, stayed at 180, 190. So again, pretty awesome. I love it. What a great find, you know, and just so much fun for the dollar. And that's what this is all about. You know, I'm not into spending all of my 401k on classic cars. You know, I want to, you know, kind of live a little bit frivolous, have fun, but be smart about it, right? And so I can drive this thing all summer. I'll have fun. I'll put a little bit of money into it and the tires and all that stuff. But when I go to sell it, I'm probably going to end up selling it for what I bought it for, or who knows, I might even make a little bit of money. So who doesn't want to do that, right? Who doesn't want to have fun, give your family some really cool experiences, and it basically costs you nothing, right? Just some time, a little bit of effort, but it's so cool. It's just so, so cool. Look at that. Boom. All right, let's move on to the Stango. Would you just have a look at this thing? I mean, it is just beautiful, right? A red Mustang. What gets more American than that? First generation, this is a 1965 model. I've always wanted one of these. This has been a bucket list car for me since I was a little kid. I think it's honestly one of the most iconic silhouettes that they've ever made. Everyone knows this car. When everyone sees this car, everyone stops to say, great car, thumbs up, all that cool stuff. It's just, it's so awesome. So I'm finally glad that I was able to put a deal together to have one. For a long time, I've been trying to acquire one, and for whatever reason, the deals always fell through, or I was scared to pull the trigger. So not this time. So this time I decided, okay, we're gonna buy this one. We're gonna take the leap, and that's all. We're just gonna see what happens and learn as we go. So let me kind of show you guys up close. Let's have a walk around real quick. So again, this car is another 10-footer. It's had an older paint job about 10 years ago. It looks great from 10 feet, super shiny, but you get up close, it's got scratches. It's definitely not perfect. There's actually a little bit of kind of rust bubbling through here and a little bit on the door on the other side. So what do you guys think about this Mustang?
I love it.
You guys love it? What about the other car? What about the Plymouth? You like that one too?
A little.
A little bit?
It's so old. I love this one.
See, even when girls are 6 and 8 years old, they still know that they love the Mustang more than the four-door Plymouth, right? I mean, kids know. Beautiful. Tell me some more about this car. What else you guys think about this thing?
Here, guys, I'll show you.
Show me what's up.
Here, pull it back.
Okay. Here's the interior.
So these actually go back like
Yep,
that.
right.
And over here, these are the opening thing.
Yep.
You have to push
That's the door handle.
this.
It takes some muscle to move that, doesn't it?
Yeah, these are the windows.
It's pretty cool, right? You don't hit a button like in new cars. You got to actually crank it.
There's also a remote I found in the car. No, it's
Right.
for the music. That's for the music.
Yep, so it does have an aftermarket kind of MP3 player setup down here.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys. So it does have a remote. It's got some, of course, some auxiliary gauges. But again, most of the stuff in here all works. It's in pretty decent shape. I'm probably going to get some new door cards.
Daddy, where's the cigarette? Like, he's
What?
still like the front piece.
Oh, this one doesn't have a cigarette lighter, I don't think. That's in the other car.
Oh, yeah. So, did
She
you,
loves that
did you
cigarette
say
lighter.
to them that there's no seatbelts in here? There's no seatbelts. Like, there's no seatbelts.
Well, there's
for the
seatbelts on every seat except for the driver's seat. So I've got to get some seatbelts on order for this car. All right, guys, let me get you a start here real quick. Now you'll see that this thing, you're probably wondering, ooh, what's that noise? A fuel pump? Why, yes, sir, that is an electric fuel pump. And she fires up real easy. And the reason why is this thing is actually fuel injected. Yep, that's right. Let me go ahead and show you guys that right now. But anyway, there's no camshaft. What it is it's just actually a 1988 5-liter and the transmission from Mustang GT that they swapped in here. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I wanted this thing, was because it has this more modern drivetrain. If something ever happens, you can find a 5-liter any day of the week for a few $100. I also have a lot of options with like used supercharger setups or a turbocharger down the line. I can do all those kinds of things. So it gives me a lot of options. Now Mustangs are also really awesome because they're not super expensive like some other muscle cars like Camaros and Chevelles of the same vintage. You know, these things you can still get them for 10,000 bucks or less that are pretty nice. So, you know, and running and driving like this one. So it's a pretty cool muscle car to get into. They make every freaking part in here. I mean, you could build a whole car from nothing, right? And that's kind of something that I really like. Like, for example, I was looking last night, you can get replacement door cards. Brand new door cards, 75 bucks. Not for one, for the pair, for both of them. Nice new black ones. Now, I would have to buy new armrests, which I think that was like 40 bucks for both. I mean, come on. We're talking like, what, 125 bucks to redo both these door panels, have them looking great. If I want to redo the seat covers with, you know, kind of original, the black vinyl, it was something like 250 bucks. I mean, everything is just pretty inexpensive and very, very easy to get. You're not going to have to, you know, like with this Plymouth, there's probably a lot of these parts that you'd have to try to go online and find. They would be very obscure, very difficult. But with Mustangs, everything, I mean, they make it all. So actually, before we get into the engine, let me kind of show you one of the main problems that is with this car, and that's going to be the previous owner has lowered it, and they have, boy, they took it to the next level. I mean, it is low. I mean, it's basically riding right on that fender. So every little bump you hit, it's scraping the tire. Now, he did put on these kind of little aftermarket fender flares. I don't mind those, it's not bad, but I am going to have to raise this thing back up to be able to actually use it. So supposedly, you know, this guy thought it was fine the way it is, but it is horrible. And you can see it's gouging the tires. It's bad. So we're going to fix that. He did powder coat the front and back bumper, took off the little bumperettes, made it look cool. It does have this aftermarket hood, which I like. And it's also got this valance, which is also really neat. I like that too. I like the look of it, right? Kind of looks a little bit newer, a little bit more modern, but with that old school Mustang body. And you know, I'm not 60 years old, right? I'm 37. So for me, this is kind of a little bit more new school stuff that I really dig. So I'm pretty excited about it. This is also a rear wing from a 2010 Mustang that he put on. So I think that's kind of cool. And then same thing, I forgot to mention it up front. Actually, this grill is just something he took from a 2010 Mustang and just kind of popped it in there, made a little bracket. So obviously it doesn't fit exactly perfect, but from 5 feet away. It looks sweet, right? I think it's pretty cool. So pretty stoked about it. All right, so here is the engine bay of this Mustang, and you can see everything's really clean. There's no rust. It looks great. And really this car, that's another reason why I wanted to get it. The underside is just super clean. You know, I don't know the background in this car. I mean, I know it was built in Dearborn by the VIN number, but I'm not sure where it spent its life. I know the previous owner did get it from Ohio, but was it there its whole life? Did it go somewhere else? I have no idea yet. But it is just super clean. And someone, you know, obviously swapped in this 5-liter, which is pretty cool. What's also interesting is you'll notice that the intake's on the right side. Usually it's on the left, so they had to swap that for this application. I guess they just didn't want to move the battery and all that kind of stuff. But again, this thing runs great. On the expressway, I was going 70, 75, and it was staying right at 180, 190. So I don't have any issues there. More of the issues with this car is just going to be the brakes. Again, it's a manual brake car, no power steering, which that doesn't bother me too much. But the manual brakes, they do kind of suck. He said he did the front drums, redid those, but it still doesn't stop super great. So I may look into doing like a disc brake swap for this one, and maybe even a power conversion on it too. But we'll see. First and foremost, we got to get the suspension fixed because that's sketchy. Also, these hinge bolts are loose and there's no prop rod. So I need to get a prop rod, tighten those because it's actually kind of hitting. So we got to get that all sorted out. But like I said, first things first, he does have some lowering blocks in the back, so I can easily just remove the lowering blocks. That'll raise the back. But the front's the biggest issue. And so he told me that he actually has some like 1-inch spacers to bring the wheel out. So of course I'll blow those out. That should help a little bit. And then he did give me some other springs to try, but what I may end up doing is just ordering some progressive rate springs online, you know, that are actually for this car. Because I think the ones he gave me were from like a later model Mustang that he was going to try to make work and cut the coils, and you know, it's just not worth my time to even do that when I can get you know, kind of factory coils for like 90 bucks. You know, I'll just buy those, and that way I know it's good. Or I even saw you could get some Chinese coilover conversion setups for 300 bucks for the front. So we may run something like that. I've just got to do some more research into it. But again, guys, I am freaking stoked on this thing. I mean, just look how good it looks. It's just so cool. Hey, so one other thing I wanted to show you guys, for cars like this, if you're going to take them to car shows and stuff on the weekend, what I actually did was I went to Walmart today and I picked up a couple of these totes that go into your trunk, and they were about 12 bucks a piece. But the cool part is they collapse completely flat when you don't have stuff in them, but you can throw this in the back of the trunk. I actually ended up getting one for each of the cars, so that way every weekend I go out to a car show, I'm not having to shuffle stuff between the cars. But it's just got a bunch of the essentials that you need when you go to like a car show. So I got a bunch of cleaning products, some towels. I also have some shop rags, and then some kind of essential stuff in case the cars don't want to start, just like some extra quarts of oil, some starting fluid, just some stuff like that to help you out in buying. I also, from Walmart, was able to get a couple of those little kind of camping chairs. So they were like $7 each. So I just grabbed 4 of them, leave 2 in each car. That way we go to the shows, I can pull out the chairs, kids can sit down, and all that kind of stuff. So just a little kind of quick tip, but you know, I think between all this crap that I just bought, it was maybe like $100 bucks. But you know, most of it's gonna last for a few years, right? As long as you don't ever have to really use it, like oil and stuff like that, right? Hopefully you'll have that for a little while. The cleaning products will probably last a season, but just kind of a quick tip, but pretty cool. And you can just kind of easily put this into the car, take it out, use it while you're at shows, you're cleaning cars, that kind of stuff. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Again, I just wanted to kind of take you guys through these new cars, and we'll kind of see what's gonna happen if they're gonna be on the channel a lot more. So be sure to check out some of the other videos, you guys. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button. Feel free to drop me a comment. Anything helps the algorithm. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.